So before you even comment it, yes, I know that I am incredibly sunburnt. You can see that right now in my face, and if I didn't have on my jacket, you could definitely see it in my arms. Believe me, I'm feeling it. I mean, I had to work a baseball game, and I didn't think that I needed sunscreen, but it turns out that I definitely did, and now I'm in the aftermath of that. Hi, I'm Jacob Suggs, and welcome back to another video. Now, when it comes to Rogue One, I wasn't super duper hyped for it when it was coming out in December. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan, so of course I wanted to see it. And because it's the first standalone Star Wars film basically ever, I was like, I want to give it a shot. I want to see what they can do, and maybe it could be different and enjoyable. And much to my surprise, I actually kind of loved Rogue One. So much so that I saw it 7 times in the theater, but that's not important. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, favorite scene? When Darth Vader just slaughters all of those vanguards. It was so satisfying. And seeing it in IMAX, just the icing on the cake. But the more I research this movie and go online and talk about it with film fans and the film community, the more I began to realize that not many people liked Rogue One. And it wasn't because of the action or anything. I mean, let's get it out the way. The third act of Rogue One, whether you liked it or not, is a really solid payoff. But the first 2 acts are basically the setup for that massive payoff in the end, and that's where some people are kind of holding back on this movie. And it's not because the setup's bad, it's because they feel that the characters are kind of lackluster. This isn't the original trilogy to where we can kind of flesh out these characters through the span of 3 movies. We have to do that in 1 movie because, spoiler, they die in the end. And we have to care about these people before they die and learn enough about them all in 1 movie. That is a pretty hefty task that, personally, I feel like Gareth Edwards pulled off. But for the sake of this argument, I want to talk about why people think that Rogue One has a character problem, and why I personally don't think that. And before you say that, yes, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, but I can admit when a Star Wars movie has problems, because Lord forbid a Star Wars movie be just okay. The reason that people don't care about these characters so much is because they kind of tell us the basis for these characters, but don't really go in depth. I think that Jyn Erso is the exception, but that's also because Galen Erso's kind of an important character in Rogue One. And we should probably care about Jyn Erso, his daughter, because, you know, she's trying to find her dad again, and she's in the rebellion, and also just not that big of a deal, I don't know, trying to find the Death Star plans to send to the rebellion. I mean, she's kind of a crucial character. And people kind of point fingers too at Bodhi saying, well, he's just the pilot. That's all they ever say that he is. So I want to quickly talk about as to why I think that Rogue One is actually stronger in character development than you might think. And it's because these characters individually may not be, super fleshed out, but they don't have to be. And let me explain what I mean by that. Yada yada yada, character development's important, yada yada yada, I get it. Just hear me out for a minute. I think that these characters are so well done because we care about each and every one of them when they die. And I think that in the end, when K2, a droid, is the one that got me the most teary-eyed, that speaks volumes for a movie that I care that much about a droid. And I'm actually about to use, I can't believe I'm about to say this, a quote from Kicking and Screaming to describe the characters in Rogue One. There's a line in that movie in which Will Ferrell goes, "Individually we may be weak, but together we're one big mega person." And that's what Rogue One is. It's not an individual character story, it's the rebellion story and the characters that make up the rebellion. So individually, these characters are fleshed out enough for me to where I care about them in the end, but when you look at it from the rebellion as the main character, I think it makes them a lot more interesting. Because we're dealing not just with one person's view of the rebellion the entire movie. Jyn's just kind of being introduced to it, but Cassian's very much well established in it. And I also think that's something cool that Rogue One brought to the table because, frankly, I don't necessarily agree with the rebellion's tactics always in this movie. Like when Cassian just shoots that guy who has the broken arm and just, escapes on his own, that's rough. But it was also necessary, he had to do what he had to do, and he got out of there. But I think that all of these characters blend together, and when you look at it from that level, it just makes the movie so much better. And frankly, we're not told much about Han Solo or Chewbacca other than the fact that they're smugglers in the original film, so do we really need to know all of this exposition and character development? Because the last time that Star Wars tried to give us exposition, it just went completely overboard, and that was a problem with the prequels. So in the end, I don't think that Rogue One has a character problem because these characters make up one central idea, faction, or really the main character of the movie, the rebellion, like I've said 1,000 times before. So to say that Rogue One has a character problem is kind of cutting it short in my personal opinion. But what do you think of Rogue One? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you not agree with me or agree with me completely? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I'm Frame by Frame. Remember the name. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next Frame by Frame film review.